As a CISSP candidate and security leader, your decisions, controls, and systems must all align with 5 information security pillars. They aren't just theory, they're the core goals of every security control you'll ever design, implement, or evaluate. Whether you're writing a policy, configuring a firewall, or assessing a risk, you need to ask, which pillars does this protect and how? Let's explore them in depth. Before you can design or evaluate any security program, you need to understand what you're truly trying to protect. At the heart of every information security strategy are 5 foundational principles, commonly known as the 5 pillars of information security, and they are confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity, and non-repudiation. These aren't just abstract ideas. They are the measurable goals behind every control, every policy, and every architecture decision you make. Let's explore each of these pillars in depth, understand why they matter, and learn the key mechanisms used to uphold them in real-world environments. Let's begin with the first and perhaps most well-known security pillars called confidentiality. Confidentiality is your responsibility to ensure that information is only accessible to those who are explicitly authorized to see it. You're safeguarding privacy, making sure sensitive data stays out of the hands of anyone who doesn't need to know. Whether it's personal health records, employee payroll data, or classified files, confidentiality is all about controlling access to protect individuals, organizations, and the public. You need to understand why confidentiality matters. If you mishandle access to sensitive data, the fallout could be serious, ranging from identity theft and reputational damage to compliance violations or even national security risks. It's not just about preventing leaks. It's about preserving trust and meeting legal and ethical obligations. To enforce confidentiality, you rely on several security enablers. Start with access control systems like role-based access control, RBAC, or attribute-based access control, ABAC, which ensure that users only access what's relevant to their roles. Use encryption, both for data at rest and in transit, to protect information from eavesdropping or theft. Apply data classification and labeling so users and systems know how to handle different types of data appropriately. And implement network segmentation and firewalls to isolate and limit the exposure of sensitive systems. For example, imagine your HR system contains confidential employee records. If you've encrypted those files and restricted access so only HR staff can view them, you've put confidentiality into action. That's how you ensure data is only seen by those with a valid reason, and that's how you protect privacy at every level. Integrity means you are responsible for protecting the accuracy, consistency, and reliability of data throughout its entire life cycle, from the moment it's created to the time it's archived or destroyed. It's your job to ensure that no unauthorized changes slip through and that data remains trustworthy and untampered at all times. You need to understand how critical this is. If someone alters a salary figure in your payroll system or changes a patient's medical records in a hospital database, the consequences could be serious, such as financial losses, compliance violations, or even loss of life. Integrity is not just about protecting data. It's about maintaining confidence in the systems and decisions that rely on it. To enforce integrity, you must use specific mechanisms. Hashing and checksums allow you to detect whether data has been changed. If the hash value doesn't match, something's wrong. Digital signatures take it a step further by confirming that a file or message is not only intact, but also comes from a verified source. You should implement audit logs to track who made changes, when, and what was modified. And don't forget about database constraints and input validation. These help ensure that only clean, valid data enters your systems in the first place. Picture this. You have a file that's been digitally hashed using SHA-256. Later, someone tries to tamper with that file. When the hash is recalculated, it doesn't match the original. That's your red flag. You've just detected a potential integrity breach, exactly what this pillar is designed to prevent. Availability is your responsibility to ensure that authorized users have reliable and timely access to the systems and data they need, whenever they need it. If access is blocked, delayed, or interrupted, your organization suffers. In short, if people can't access what they need, your security program has failed, regardless of how strong your other controls are. You need to care about availability because downtime isn't just inconvenient, it can be catastrophic. A denial of service, DOS attack, system crash, or even a power failure can shut down operations. In sectors like healthcare or finance, that kind of disruption could mean missed treatments, lost revenue, or regulatory penalties. Your job is to minimize these risks and ensure continuous access to critical resources. To maintain availability, you must build resilience into your systems. Start with redundancy and high availability solutions like server clustering, failover configurations, and backup network paths. These ensure that if one component fails, another picks up the load without interruption. Next, invest in disaster recovery and business continuity planning, where you define recovery time objectives and recovery point objectives to guide your response to disruptions. Don't overlook the importance of system monitoring and load balancing. These tools help you detect bottlenecks before they escalate and evenly distribute traffic to avoid overload. And of course, keep your infrastructure healthy with regular patching and proactive maintenance, so you're not brought down by avoidable bugs or vulnerabilities. Imagine a hospital relying on electronic health records. During a power outage, a backup generator kicks in, and mirrored storage ensures no patient data is lost. Thanks to your planning, the system stays online, and lives stay protected. That's availability in action. Authenticity is your responsibility to ensure that people, systems, and data are exactly who or what they claim to be. You're guarding against impersonation, spoofing, and deception. Whether it's a login attempt, a digital file, or a communication channel, you need to be sure it's coming from a trusted source before you allow access or take action. You should care deeply about authenticity because attackers thrive on false identities. If someone can impersonate your CEO, they can convince your finance team to transfer funds. If malicious software masquerades as a trusted application, your entire environment could be compromised. The moment you lose the ability to verify authenticity, you open the door to social engineering, fraud, and system corruption. To enforce authenticity, start with strong authentication mechanisms. Not just passwords, but also smart cards, biometrics, and multi-factor authentication. These give you a layered defense that makes it harder for attackers to gain unauthorized access. Then, leverage digital certificates and public key infrastructure to confirm identities online and ensure that systems trust each other before exchanging data. You also need to deploy token-based access systems which issue time-sensitive or session-bound credentials that can't easily be forged or reused. And don't forget about secure communication protocols like HTTPS and SSH. These help verify endpoints and encrypt traffic, ensuring you're not talking to an imposter server or application. Picture this. A user tries to access your financial system. They insert a smart card, enter a PIN, and then confirm their identity through an MFA prompt. You've just confirmed their identity across multiple channels. That's authenticity in action, and it's what keeps trust intact in your environment. Non-repudiation is your ability to prove that a specific user performed a specific action, and to ensure that they can't later deny it. Whether it's a digital signature on a contract, a database update, or a system command, you need a reliable way to link that action back to its true source with evidence that stands up to scrutiny. You need to care about non-repudiation because in the real world, people sometimes dispute or deny their actions, especially when something goes wrong. If a user sends a fraudulent instruction or deletes critical data and then claims they didn't do it, you need clear proof. This isn't just about IT, it's about accountability, legal compliance, and protecting your organization from fraud or manipulation. To enforce non-repudiation, you should use digital signatures with timestamps. These provide cryptographic proof of who performed an action and exactly when it happened. This evidence can't be easily forged or modified, and it holds up in audits or legal investigations. Combine that with system logs and audit trails, which capture activity in real time and give you a traceable record of user behavior across applications and infrastructure. You must also rely on strong authentication to eliminate any doubt about a user's identity. Without certainty of identity, the entire concept of non-repudiation falls apart. Finally, use message integrity checks, such as hashing or message authentication codes, to ensure that data or instructions haven't been altered during transit. Imagine this scenario. A senior executive approves a vendor contract via a digitally signed email, time-stamped and verified through the organization's secure signing system. Later, there's a dispute, but you can confidently show that the approval originated from their account at a precise time using verified credentials. That's non-repudiation in action, and it's what lets you enforce responsibility with confidence. As you design and manage security solutions, you'll quickly realize that these 5 pillars, confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity, and non-repudiation, don't operate in isolation. They constantly interact, and in many situations, you'll need to balance them carefully. For example, when you increase availability by allowing broader access to systems, you could unintentionally reduce confidentiality if access controls aren't tight. When you're focused on maintaining integrity, you may need to enforce authenticity and non-repudiation together to prove data hasn't been tampered with and to hold users accountable. So, what's your leadership takeaway? Your role as a security architect or leader is to evaluate how each control you implement supports or affects these pillars, without weakening the others. You're not just protecting systems, you're orchestrating trust, ensuring that your approach aligns with risk levels, business objectives, and regulatory expectations.